Okay, one of the cool parts about road trips is it gives you lots of time to sit behind the wheel. Well, for me, that's a good thing. Get lots of time to think about things. Think about things I like, think about things I don't like, and give you guys information that you can use when you're out there shopping. So let's do the 5 likes and 5 dislikes about this 2024 Ford Ranger. If you recall, you probably saw it, one of the most popular videos on this channel was when I did a 5 good things and 5 bad things of prior generation Ford Ranger. So let's talk about the likes, we'll get the dislikes here in a minute, and I'll kind of wrap this in the whole idea of road tripping and give you a mile per gallon update when we get to Cheyenne, which is about 40 minutes away. Okay, I pulled over here in the middle of nowhere, really, to go over the sticker and also talk about the vehicle. So let's go and check this out. So 2024 Ford Ranger Super Crew XLT, 2.3 liter EcoBoost engine, exterior cactus gray, interior sandstone premium cloth seats. And then we'll just look at the optional equipment: the power sliding rear window, the bigger tire, the sport appearance package, FX4 off-road package, the 373 locking rear differential, advanced towing package, navigation, running boards, fielder tow package, the secure code keyless keypad, bed liner, and pickup box extender. I'll build this, we'll do a build and price in a minute, and I'll show you what it actually turns out to be as far as the price I have for it. But let's put that sticker down and take a look at this. If you haven't seen the new Ford Ranger, this is it. We have kind of an interesting design here, a nice little shelf for a thing, plus it's a little molded so things won't slide around so much in there. This is the center screen that comes in all of the new Ford Rangers. We have the HVAC controls, volume, that kind of stuff. And this, you just kind of flip back and forth, different things. You also have your owner's manual, is digital. Back in here, we have a little wireless charger there. Looks like a little spot for it. A little cubby hole here, and a really kind of interesting placement here. I put my garage door opener kind of for scale, for size. Couple cup holders. I have 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, high, 4 low. I have the different drive modes here. I have traction control, parking, and auto start stop. The shifter's right there. So that all works pretty good. Trailer brake controller here. I have the windshield wipers here. Turn signals there. Lights on there as well. And then we have the controls for the cruise control, the volume, Bluetooth, and this goes through the menus on the screen. So let's hop out and take a look at this. So we have some lighting controls there. And then we have this is that cactus gray, this nice tan. These are these cloth seats, which they're nice. They're pretty comfortable. I've had really good thoughts on these seats. I don't know what else to say. My butt feels good in these seats. So yeah, there you go. And I believe they are heated as well. Heated and cooled. I will double check that for you guys. But heated cloth seats are really awesome. Leather gets really hot in the summertime and it burns your fingers or burns your legs. Not a big fan. Here is our interior. It's all carpet interior. And then I have some floor mats. But I popped the hood and I'll show you the hood. There's not much to see in there. The engine just is a lot of cleanup. The engine looks messy. Okay, so the engine looks pretty messy when you pop the hood, and I'll do it. We'll take a look at it. Payload 1,524 pounds. Always gotta make sure I mention that. It's a pretty good amount of payload for this mid-size truck. When you consider the full size has about the same amount of payload. That's how many people you can carry in the cabin, drinks, all that kind of stuff. XLT, cactus gray, secure code there. There's the running boards. They're kind of running boards in mid-size. You need them, you don't need them. It's kind of a pro and con there. This is the new, because the truck's shorter, right? So in the full size, a lot of times running boards are needed. For me, mid-size, you can do without them, but I like them. It makes it easier for everybody to get inside the vehicle, especially my kids. Looking at the front, this is the F-150 front grille. They did this intentionally, so it looks like the rest of the world. People like this F-150 look. I have some recovery hooks there, a skid plate down there, pretty sizable skid plate. Yeah, pretty sizable skid plate. And we'll come around the sides. So these are the General Grabber AT sport tires. 255 or 255, yeah, 70 R17s. And this is the sport appearance package, so you have more black out here, kind of black matches. From the side, FX4 off-road. We have our dual antenna plus Wi-Fi plus Sirius XM all up there. And we have, there is your rear suspension, right? So leaf spring suspension on this sides. I have Ranger spelled out there, Ford there, trailer hook up there, letting across as we open the bed. I like it. This is doesn't go down with a thud. Like the prior generation was like thud, and people were like, well, our trucks have always done that, Tim. You're just kind of bitching about that. And I'm like, yeah, but Isn't that nicer than a thud? I think so. Oh, we have some hookups here for different clamps for wood. And then we have back here in the bed, I have some power there. We'll investigate that in a second. LED lighting up in there. And this is that bed extender with the, you flip it out and the bed is longer. I've never really used it. Never really found a use for it personally. Hookups there. So a 120 volt, 400 watt max there. 12 volt, 180 watt max there. Big fan of power in the bed. It makes it more useful to me. And then there is that optional sliding window, which looks hilariously small to me. Well, it just does. Oh, let's check out the second row. Are the crew cab seats? Yeah, there's enough room to sit like behind myself. I said in the video, I wish there was a hook here to grab hold of. People said it's right here, Tim. I'm like, well, that's just awkward. I don't like this. I'm not grabbing this. I'm gonna grab it here. That's my thing. So I'm sitting behind myself. I'm 5'7", and we'll close the door. Door's closed pretty good. A good thud. I like a good sounding door. And then, yeah, leg room. Have some power back here, some USBs. Not much more. No sunroof in this one. And then, yeah, that's what it looks like back here. Headroom. I mean, what I like about this Ranger is, I know people are going to try to say, well, if you're all 6'5" and you get 4 6'5" guys near you, you're not going to fit. I get that. But if you have a family of kids and yourself and your wife, and you're not like horrendously tall or big, you can fit 4 people in this cabin. And plenty of headroom, legroom, seats go back quite a bit. So I like what they did here. And with the payload being so high, you know, this definitely could take the place of full-size truck if your family fits and you don't have massive towing needs. This thing will tow quite a bit of weight. I want to put it down below. I don't quite remember off the top of my head what it tows, but it tows quite a bit of weight. I just worry about if you get a really long camper, a lot of sway, side profile wind out here, especially wide open places, I'd go full size. But this is nice. Let's go ahead and keep driving. I'll tell you some more thoughts on this Ford Ranger. Okay, here's that underneath the hood look I told you I was going to give you. Yeah, dipstick all the way back in there. I don't know why it's so far away from me. Just interesting placement. So dipstick and oil back in there. Lots of wires on top, no cover. It's just the way Ford's done their engines, which is fine. It's one less thing to take off or repair or getting the stuff. But yeah, this is there's your engine bay with that 2.3 liter. All right, getting on the road. Once you know, opportunity presents itself. I'm gonna pass this vehicle, so I'm doing about 70. But let's see what happens when I really get on it. Because here, this guy's driving. Let's go and get around. Turn signals on, and then. Now he did slow down because he's turning, but that's pretty good acceleration, I think, right there. And so what that tells me, and that tells me more than, say, a drag race or something off the line, I like to know what the passing speed is on these vehicles. Do I feel like if I pass that guy, do I feel like I'm going to be, oh my gosh, am I going to make it, not make it? You just want to have enough power to get around semis, get around slower traffic, and not feel like, oh, come on, you know, what you get from older engines. I find a lot of the new turbocharged engines do a good job of that, but I'm always curious to see how they do when I do it. Pass it. Lane. Sorry. I had to put on cruise control, and I was like, well, press the button. What are you doing? So, yeah, there's your demonstration of passing. And then I'll be interested to see what happens. Up here is a section called Wildcat Hills, and it's a pretty steep climb. Let me see if the camera never does justice for how the topography looks, but it's out there. It's past those telephone poles. You can see that bluff up that way. So it's not a mountain, but it's a good bluff, a good climb. And maybe I'll video going to the top, because usually it's pretty interesting to see what the RPMs do and what the temperature does. Although I'm not towing this time, but what the RPMs do. That's pretty interesting. And how many times at the downshift. That's another thing too. We'll find out. Okay, here we go. We're gonna go up this Wildcat Hills. You see it kind of snaking around. I thought I looked it up once, and this spot from here is about a mile or two at like 3 to 4% grade. Is it percent or degree? I always ask myself that question, but yeah, so we're going up. So RPM is about right around 2,000 RPMs, 35 miles an hour. I will say this ride's really smooth. I'm a little surprised. It's a little kind of loud in the cabin for whatever reason. For my, I don't know. I could just be susceptible at this morning, but it just seems like a little loud to me. As we come around the corner here, we're still at 2,000 RPMs. This is the stretch right here that usually causes a downshift for a lot of vehicles, because then you start going all the way to the top. And again, the camera doesn't do it justice. I know. There we go. We downshifted. Now we're about 2,500 RPMs. That's pretty normal. There's nothing weird about that. I'm just curious if it downshifts one more time, or I can hold that. Going on the top. Yeah, held that line. So no problems there. And then we'll get to the top, and it already downshifted. I can feel it downshift. So that's pretty good. Just one downshift in that little section, and pretty smooth. Wasn't clunky. Didn't have any issues with transmission. I know there's been a lot of stuff in the news about the Ford 10-speed transmission, but I didn't have any problems with transmission. Didn't feel sloppy at all, and downshift just right. And now I'm on the backside of the hill going down. So we'll see what happens when we get more to Cheyenne. I'll update you then as far as fuel economy numbers are. I know when I picked this up in Denver last week, I was flying back from an event. I picked this up at the airport and drove home. It showed like 25 for the trip, which is it's pretty good. And I was like, is that really accurate or is it not accurate? So I'm not sure. That just seemed like a really good number. So we'll get down the hill here and we'll see what happens with the fuel economy. So top 5 likes. The first thing I like, and I like that Ford focused on bringing this to US. It felt like the prior generation was just kind of a warmed over European model, and it feels like Ford in this case spent a little more time on this and really has more of a polished truck in the United States. I feel like the interior is better done. I feel like the exterior is better executed. I just think overall they've just done a really good job on this truck. Now I know that it's been overseas, and yes, we have some of the overseas variant here in the United States, but I like what the overseas version is. I don't know how to say that, but I just like what they did here. I think they did a really good job with this truck as overall. The second thing I like is it's really incredible how smooth Ford trucks have become. Actually, when I bought my 21 Power Boost, one of the things I didn't like about the F-150 XLT when I sold it was it kind of got boring. It drives like a car, and that's fine. I think a lot of people out there really want a smooth riding truck. They want something they can drive road tripping like I am right now, and they want something to use around farms or around the city or go off-road, whatever, with a smaller size. And so I think that this really works. I'm really impressed. I can't hear any of the tire noise. I don't feel the off-road tires, and it holds the lane really well. I'm like doing one finger steering, and it's not a big deal. It really does have a good ride, and I think people will really be surprised if you haven't been a new truck in years. You'll be surprised how well these new trucks ride. Third thing I like, and this is interesting because it creates a lot of debate in the comments, but I like the power output in this 2.3 liter. I've driven this thing. I drove it in Salt Lake City. I've driven it here. Driven elevation. Driven it kind of going down at my hot place about 4,000 feet. So I've driven it at elevation. I think it performs well for a base engine. For a base engine, to not be a dog and to be, something that's actually got pretty good power delivery, I'm pretty impressed by it. I'll be honest with you. I know that 2.7 is coming out sometime this model year. People have been waiting for that 2.7. They just want the bigger power number. But I would not be unhappy behind the wheel of this one. I don't feel like, again, has much turbo lag. I feel like shifting is fine. Overall, I like the way the power delivery is. The fourth thing I like about this truck is I like the overall capability of it, right? So this FX4 package, a little bit bigger tires, a little bigger lift. You can get the Ford Ranger with not that stuff. You can go more of a base model, but you get really good payload. I'm not kidding when I say the payload on this Ford Ranger is similar to the F-150. It's very similar to full-size trucks. And so even though you don't have the space inside the cabin or the volume in the bed to be able to hold more stuff, right? The F-150 bed is just bigger. You can carry the same amount of weight overall in both trucks. And so I like that. I like the capability. And towing in this segment, to me, towing is about 4,000 pounds max. Some people do some longer trailers. Some people do some bigger campers. I get it. But I think this can tow most people's needs, a smaller camper, set of ski-doos, things that people use in real life situations, not like some trailer loaded down with water or something trying to haul it around. I think for this side of the truck, for what the customer needs are, I think this works really well. And the fifth thing I like about this Ford Ranger, and I've done a lot of comparison videos, building and pricing like this versus the Nissan Frontier versus the Toyota Tacoma versus the trucks. I like the price. You know, people talk to me all the time about, Tim, trucks are too expensive, and God, you know, who's buying these damn trucks? And you know, they're insane price. And they are. I have a really stupid purchase. I'm buying a Ram Bighorn fully loaded at $72,000. It's dumb. It fits the needs of my business, but it's a dumb price. I think this price works, right? So, back of my mind, I haven't done the build and price in this video. I'm going to put this in, but I got this at sub 50. You can probably go 46, 47 all day long without some of these options. You get the room of basically a two-row SUV. You get 1,500 pounds of payload. I can tow quite a bit, and I'm going to get pretty good fuel economy. Like I said, when I drove up here from Denver, I got 25 miles per gallon. Now I'm averaging about 19.3, but still, to me, I got a little ways to go. That's still a pretty good number. I've done this route a lot with different full-size trucks and different trucks, and it just burns fuel. It's just a really, really, really inefficient route for fuel economy. So I don't know. I'm not upset with that number. I know people will talk more about that in the comments. We'll do a final wrap up here, give you the final number when I get down to Fort Collins. But yeah, I'm not upset about that at all. Okay, so those are 5 good things. 5 things that I don't really care for with this Ford Ranger, right? So sometimes I'm nitpicking things. Sometimes I have some real beefs. This time I'm nitpicking a few things. I really am. I think this is overall done pretty well, but it's really weird to have a keyed ignition and a digital dash and a digital big screen. Now I remember a couple years ago when we all started going the push button start on these trucks, and people were like, well, I hate that. I want a key, I want a key, I want a key. And now I think the mindset of the consumer has changed. I think overall, there's still people that love keys. Don't get me wrong. But I think overall, people are getting really used to this push button start idea. You leave the key in your pocket, or you do other vehicles that have your phone as a key. You hop in, you press the start button, and you go. Right? You don't have to get the key out. It's been a little annoying this week getting the key out. The way the key fob is, it's long. It's resting on my knee right now, and I'm just like, this is just, it's just weird. It's like going, but again, I think the weirdness for me is how much technology I have inside the cabin, and then a keyed ignition. It's just strange. It just really is overall pretty strange. All right, let's talk about the second thing. I'm not really a big fan of this truck, and oh yeah, by the way, heated seats. So I have the heated seats on. Just it feels good in my back. So the second thing is the road noise. I am surprised how loud it is in the cabin. I think that keeps costs down. Not as much sound insulation inside the cabin, and yeah, it's a windy day. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm sure that in different situations this will be fine. You won't need to have as much sound deadening for your needs. But for me, it's just a little loud in here, and I'm a little surprised by that. It's kind of, I'll say, good thing. The third thing I don't like about this truck, and it goes in the back seats and the front seats, is I don't have any arm grab handles, right? So I have that dumb grab handle up here on the back seats. I don't have a grab handle up in the driver's seat. I don't have it in the rear seat either. And so, here's my complaint about that, is I don't like grabbing a steering wheel to get inside of a truck. I've always not liked that, and I wish I had a grab handle so I had to grab the steering wheel if I was a shorter person, or if I wanted to use it to get in. I have one on the passenger side, and I'm like, well, just give me a couple more. And I understand we don't want to add too much more to the price. Maybe a small one. I've seen them do it in different vehicles. Ford's got some pretty good design for these side grab handles. I just want to see them. I just wish I had more of them, and that'd be my small complaint. You may never have a problem with it. You may be tall enough to get in, no big deal. I don't like grabbing the steering wheel. It's always my thing. The fourth thing I don't really like about this truck is I don't like all the piano black on styling of the inside of the cabin. I've talked about this different brands. I'm going to keep talking about it because with trucks, it gives it more of a luxury feel according to the interior designers I've talked to, but it gets dusty and scratches, and it doesn't seem like it holds up well. And even in the F-150 I had the same idea. Man, it was always dirty, and so I'm not a huge fan of that. And to me, I've seen people online, different truck brands, they actually make kits now, and they actually swap those out aftermarket to more of a not like this glossy black, but more of a more of a sport appearance black that we have out, more of just a black that's easy to keep clean, easy to use. So that's probably the fourth thing I'm not really a big fan of with this truck. The fifth thing I'm not a big fan of this truck, and I wish more brands would focus on this, is it does have a wireless charger. Although I've used that wireless charger, I think that's all it's doing, because I can't see my phone in there. But pull my phone out, my phone's hot. Like, I'm not using it right now because I can't really use it. It's like my phone is on fire when I pull it out, even driving around town. And I know companies like General Motors have a dedicated vent that comes up from the HVAC system that blows cold air on the phone while it's charging. I think I'd like to see that throughout the truck market and fix this issue of having a phone overheat and having not being able to use it, right? So I have a feature that I don't really like to use because it makes my phone too hot, but my phone could turn off because it gets too hot when it was charging. So what's the point of the feature if I can run into that issue? I don't know, but it's an issue for me. It's on my phone, new iPhone 15. I have that issue. I don't have the issue in all vehicles. I've just noticed it on this Ford Ranger. I've had those issues. So those are kind of my 5 good things and 5 not so good things on the Ford Ranger. What do you guys think? Put your comments down below. Let's go ahead and get to Fort Collins, and I'll wrap up the rest of this and give you fuel economy numbers when we get down there. All right? Deal? Deal. Okay, pulling into the gas station here. I got the vehicle behind me. I'm going to drive this next week, so I'm going to wrap this up. The screen shows 20.4 mile per gallon. I have found in my years of doing this that number is usually between half mile per gallon to 1 mile per gallon off, depending on when you actually, when I say hand calculate that stuff. So I guess I'll park over here. There you go. There's my thoughts on this 2024 Ford Ranger. Put your comments down below. What do you guys think? Is this much better? It's still work to be done. I'll be interested to see what you guys have to say. Check out the videos and channel over here. Website down below as well. pickuptrucktalk.com. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you down the road.